Before we get to your scheduled video, please remember that likes and comments tell YouTube to promote our work to other people, and subscribing to the channel tells you when something new drops. You can also head to the link tree in the description to peruse my books, join us on Discord, or support us on Patreon. You can get episodes of Journey of Wrestling and Violent Profiles early, as well as a load of other treats. Even just $1 a month earns you a name drop for being cool. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show. Greetings and salutations, fellow denizens of 2024 and beyond. If you're listening to this from the past, how? It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hey.
This is the First Two Nerds podcast of the new year. That's right, it's not our usual year in review. It's not our movie homework. It's a review of a wrestling show, because Tony Khan had to be the last pay-per-view of 2023.
He just had to be. It was very important to him.
And I think it plays well into a lot of storylines that are, well, one storyline that's going on. But, so I can't fault him too much. But you've messied up our podcast. More importantly, and we're going to keep talking about this, probably at least through January and the rest of the year, this is our 10-year anniversary.
We've been doing this shit for 10 years, the podcast specifically.
We had another show before on Blip, which is not a thing anymore.
We don't have that show anymore. As Blip is not a thing anymore.
I mean, I have the files.
But it's not a show.
No, you can't watch it.
No.
God, no. I guess a quick thank you to everybody who's been with us on this journey through any stretch. A lot of you are new.
And we're happy to have you.
And you know what? Some of you are cool.
Who's cool?
Well, you know what? I'm going to say that Harmony's pretty cool.
Okay.
I'm going to say that a guy from Ohio is definitely cool.
That's true.
Passion Killer 711, very cool.
Absolutely.
I am going to say Destrucity KTL, destrucitively cool.
Excellent, yes.
And, of course, we cannot be cool without Rob.
Legally, I am obligated to say that is true.
You are legally obligated to say that is true. You, too, can be cool by giving us at least $1 on the Patreon. Link in the link tree in the description. You also get episodes of Journey of Wrestling a week early. And there's some higher tiers for more stuff, including episodes of Violent Profiles early, which next month, and if you're on the Patreon later this week, the first episode of Season 2 is going up.
Look at that.
Big accomplishments here. Big accomplishments all over the place. All over the shop.
So let's talk wrestling.
Let's talk wrestling. The girl that brought us to the dance.
Yeah, really is.
That is how we started, actually, the Two Nerds podcast. For those of you who don't know, we just talked about Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, we started the podcast because White and I had been friends for a long time at that point already, and we talked all the time, and we realized that it would be fun to have a record of those talks, and it would be fun if other people could hear them. That's all.
Yeah.
There was never any plan to get big or anything like that. We never chased algorithms or did anything like that. We're here to have a good time, and we're happy you're here with us.
Yep. I think overall this wrestling show is a good time. Let's do the spoiler-free review, just in case some people are extra late to the party. This was on Saturday.
Yeah, I think generally fun show. Not a lot of bad matches. Always a good sign.
No, I think the worst things that happened here were promos.
Yeah, there's some rough stuff there. There's stuff that I recognize as well done, but I disagree with. And there's stuff that I don't think was well done, but could be made good in the future. But overall, fun show. I think it would be worth your time to watch.
There we go. Thank you for the money, Tony. Wait for it to be in my bank account.
If Tony was paying us, I'd be giving a much more glowing review.
If Tony was paying us, I'd remember what my bank account was called. Faster than that.
That's fair.
So we're going to get into what actually happened with the pre-show. And we tend to talk pretty long and hard about these, so I'm going to try not to take up too much of your time.
Tony Khan put 400,000 matches on this card,
yeah.
So...
Kris Statlander and Willow Nightingale were in a match because the internet has been trying to tell TK for years that you're allowed to book women's wrestling feuds that have nothing to do with the title, and he tried, and so this match happened. And I thought it was a good match.
It was a perfectly fine wrestling match.
Yeah.
But boy howdy, aside from caring about these two talents, which I do, I like them both. I don't care about this storyline, mostly because I think it happens on Ring of Honor and we don't have Honor Club, so that's not on the feud. It might be really good, we just didn't watch it.
It had Stokely involved, so that's pretty good.
It was probably pretty banger, yeah.
The match was actually really good until the ladies both gassed out simultaneously.
And, like, instantly. I was looking at the match, everything was going fine, everyone was doing a good job. I look away for, I'm not kidding, 5 seconds, long enough to look at a tweet. And then I look back, and it's just bad. Like the wheels done came off the car in that 5-second section, and they never went back on.
But overall, good job. I like both competitors. Next, we had a 20-man battle royale for a future AEW TNT Championship match.
Fun fact, we actually make predictions for the pay-per-view cards for AEW in the Discord, which you can join in the link tree. I didn't do a great job.
You did better than average.
You did an amazing job. You presaged the win of this correctly.
When the roster for it was not announced, yes. I felt very smug about that.
Because the roster was not, it was a surprise, and you still, you managed to call it, and it makes sense from a storyline perspective. I called Malachi Black because I wanted this to be the end of the Christian Edge storyline. I wanted that to be over now. World's End felt like a really good pay-per-view to do a bunch of blow-offs, to use the Jow terminology.
I don't think that Adam Copeland and Christian are going to be blowing off until they're back together. So I wasn't even anticipating that.
And yeah, you're absolutely, your presagement was absolutely correct, and the right call if you're continuing this feud, which is kill switch.
It's Luchasaurus. This is a safe space.
Well, you just corrected me for Adam Copeland, so I was trying.
I wasn't correcting you. I was letting the listener know who this Edge character might be in case you haven't heard of him before.
But yes, Luchasaurus wins.
Everyone knows Luchasaurus.
Yeah, he's worldwide. He's famous. He's the wrestling dinosaur. And I think that is a good call for now.
The match was a little clumsy.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but it was like a battle royal.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's kind of a roll of dice in the battle royal.
It was a battle royal that had 20 more seconds than the Willow Nightingale Kris Statlander match. Like, they didn't even have much time to work with. For what they had, they did okay.
Yeah.
There was a lot of botching, so with no apologies to Chris Jericho. That's what it's called. Suck it up.
I don't... With all due respect, I don't think I need to apologize to Chris Jericho for anything.
No, he's rich and famous and on TV. He can take someone calling a thing what it is.
And a man who has performed enough sins that I'm allowed to call a move fucking up a botch. They added a FTW title championship match rules for some reason. I think this might have been cooking in the background of the background on the back burner.
This feud has kind of been like a background feud for like several months, actually.
Yeah, like they do one promo a month. I mean, maybe it's on Rampage. We stopped watching Rampage. We don't usually watch Collision. It's not out of malice. It's just a lot of wrestling.
Like, one of the reasons I think one of the things that ultimately killed WWE, my desire to watch, not finally, that was a thrown rubber chicken and the things that preceded it, but the thing that drained my love enough that I eventually had to walk away was having to watch 9 hours of wrestling or whatever a week to keep up with the story. I don't like that. I'm an adult. I have a job.
AEW does a pretty good job of keeping us abreast of the important stuff.
Yeah, that's actually, I was leading into that exact compliment is, we watch basically just Dynamite, and I don't feel like I'm lost on anything that isn't Ring of Honor. That shit is not covered.
They barely advertise it. It's pretty cool how we can like start and finish each other's sentences. We've been doing that a lot already. It's almost like we've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
And compared to the first year worth of podcasts, we're so much better now.
Don't watch those. They're bad.
No. Hook defended his title against Wheeler Yuta. It was a good match, actually. Nothing crazy, but it was my kind of hardcore, and I appreciated this pay-per-view for that. When they did no rules...
It was fun hardcore. I think your kind of hardcore requires at least one set of tongs, the nuts, and a bowling ball.
Yeah.
Like, you edge goofier, really.
Well, but that's the ideal. Right, this is in the ballpark. This was
perfectly serviceable.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there's no cherry on top, but it's still a good sundae. Next, we had an 8-man tag team match between the remnants of the tournament, the Continental...
You guys were all in the tournament. We'd like to give you something to do on the pay-per-view card match.
Yeah, and that would be the Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson, with Mark Briscoe and Daniel Garcia versus Brody King, Jay White, Jay Lethal, and Roosh. This was okay, right? I feel like there was a downbeat section, but I'm having a hard time remembering.
I'm gonna be honest, this match was mostly just well wrestled and forgettable. Because there's not like there's anything important happening in this match.
I think the important things that happened were threefold. Matt Menard on commentary.
Who did a great job.
He's great. If they transition to commentator, he's getting better and better each time I hear him. Daniel Garcia picking up the win.
That is important, you're right.
And Jay Lethal leading the loss. Because they have been building a storyline where Jay Lethal can't buy a win, and I feel like we're heading toward a face turn.
That would be fine if I thought it was gonna go somewhere after that.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna go anywhere after that.
That's the thing, is like if it led to something for the character, that'd be fine. As it stands, it just kind of feels like they're burying him, and I don't have faith that it's heading somewhere good.
I will say that compared to, for example, your Scorpio Sky and your Keith's Lee, Jay Lethal's usually on TV.
That's true. That's true. Keith Lee occasionally will appear from the myth and legend and cut one promo and then be out for injury for 6 months. No shade on him. Get healthy. It's just unfortunate. And Scorpio Sky couldn't buy TV time if he had Tony Khan's money.
They had him back. They brought him back. He was supposed to have a second Collision match, and he has become injured.
Man.
It's rough out there. So, yeah, it was good. I'm having a hard time remembering it. I'm not having a hard time remembering Andrade El Idolo versus Miro.
But that's not for a positive reason.
Well, the match was fine.
The match was perfectly serviceable.
Yeah.
I hate this fucking feud.
I do too. I'm glad it's over.
It's over now. Celebration. The evil is defeated. Not Andrade. The fucking storyline. Stop it. Stop this storyline. It wasn't good when WWE did it. It wasn't good when they did it again. And it's not good now. Stop it. Stop it. I don't care if it's your weird foreplay. Stop it.
Yeah, that's how I feel. The story being CJ Perry, it was managing Andrade, and Miro didn't like that.
The story being, to use less loaded terminology, a man upset his woman is stepping out on him in one way or another. I recognize that you guys are actually in real life married. You don't have the on-screen charisma for this.
And which is funny because they're both really good, but like...
separately, on their own.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're bad performers. This comes across both fake and cringe. Do not do it. Stop.
But yeah, Miro won via submission. Andrade is off to greener pastures. WWE-ner pastures.
I mean, greener, they probably paid him a lot.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And he gets to hang out with his wife, probably. So, we move on to the AEW Women's World Championship match. Riho versus Timeless Toni Storm. What did you think about this one?
I really liked this feud, mostly because I really liked Timeless Toni Storm. I'm not going to take the necessary 20 minutes to talk about how great Timeless Toni Storm is. I'm just going to say it is the absolute best thing going in the AEW women's division, and it's not close.
I'll also say this is some of the best Riho stuff I've seen, period. I have a hard time believing her because her small size and the way she wrestles make her seem very non-impactful.
Like, because it's not just the small size, right?
Right.
Because she's the same height as Alexa Bliss, or near enough for government work. And they don't come across the same on camera. It's a combination of size combined with a style that doesn't necessarily fit that size against all opponents, and, like, presentation. If you dress up like a middle school girl, it makes you seem unserious.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that that's the way it is, but in the Fed you're in currently, that is the way that it is, though.
I really have nothing else to say about that. Toni Storm was victorious. May have debuted a very cool new finisher.
Yeah, it was really cool. I'd like to know what it's called. Probably just Timeless, but I'd like it to have a different cooler name.
Sure. The final cut. Curtain call.
No, that's
Crossroads.
No. He was doing a bit.
I didn't mean to segue, but Swerve Strickland was supposed to fight Keith Lee to end their feud that's been going on since 1984.
Side note, Timeless Tony Storm wins. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we said that. But whatever, regardless. So Dustin Rhodes, Keith Lee's tag partner once, I believe in 2002, stepped in to make the save.
This feud has been going on since roughly the dawn of human existence.
Our first Two Nerds episodes, the ones on Blip, were about this feud.
I would love it if at some point, someday, this feud could be over now.
God, it doesn't. I think we could have just walked away.
I will say, if there's one thing AEW does generally poorly, it is knowing when to move the fuck on. They drag things out, and this is not just this feud, although it is this feud, to be clear. But it's all of their stuff. There is a general theme of took about a pay-per-view cycle too long.
Sometimes 3 or 4, especially if Chris Jericho's involved.
It's just, I understand why. You've got stories you want to tell, and they're big on long-term storytelling and having guys remember stuff that happened to them more than 3 months ago. I like that aspect. But you need to find the balance between that and, I'm going to be watching Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland fight until the heat death of the fucking universe.
So Dustin stepped up. Swerve hobbled him with a cinder block. They had a match anyway because Dustin's very brave. At one point, he hit a crossroads, and commentary didn't know what to call it.
You can just call it the Crossroads. You call stuff by its WWE name a fair amount. You don't not call it a DDT. Unclench.
Swerve was victorious, of course, as he should be. He's been doing a lot better this cycle. I really liked him in the tournament.
Honestly, if they pre-tape those tournament promos, great. If Swerve has finally figured out how to cut a live promo, that's better. I would like it to be that. But just A+, ever since the Hangman match, he's on the mic. Because he had the ring chops already.
Yeah.
He has been so much less infuriating on the mic. So much so that I had previously referred to him as the guy who cannot land a plane to save his life. He can fly the plane, but he cannot fucking land it. Whereas he's been doing great, and I just wanted to shout that out.
Yeah. He deserves it. So, speaking of substitutions, this match was originally Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega.
I'm not calling it the Thing.
I've already for the Golden Snowshoe, I think, versus Ricky Starks and Big Bill, the tag team champions, for the titles. And what we ended up watching after several substitutions and changes was Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Sting, and Darby Allin versus Ricky Starks, Big Bill, Konosuke Takeshita, and Powerhouse Hobbs.
This match was very much the airborne ham of the pay-per-view card.
Sting was there. And Darby. I liked Darby in this match.
I more meant the lead up to it.
Oh, yeah. It was...
the match itself a little, but...
It was probably the worst match on the card, but if we don't count the pre-show. But it wasn't bad.
Yeah, because the worst match on the card was the Battle Royal.
Yeah. But, I like a Battle Royal, but...
Sting wins because fucking... Of course he does. He's going to win until his last match, which he will also win. Fuck it. Nothing means anything.
I want Goldberg to come back and challenge Sting.
And lose.
Yeah,
same.
That's my
Great.
goal.
A+.
There's not much to say about this because this whole thing got fucked.
This only exists because Kenny Omega's stomach turned inside out and tried to eat him.
And then they didn't want the new TV champ, Aussie, to lose so soon after getting the title. So they subbed him out for Takeshita.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's, real life happens.
Kyle Fletcher.
His name's open. That's.
Oh, is he open? You're right. The other one's the Drongo. That's right.
His name is open. I'm sorry. That's your name. The other guy's Aussie. You're open. You're Aussie open. I'm sorry. This match only exists because of an unfortunate reality. All, good vibes towards Kenny Omega. Hope he gets well soon. Even if we never see him again, I just hope for his health.
Yeah. He seems like a decent guy.
But...
Very biteable, though.
This... Indeed. This match was, it happened.
Yeah.
It's over now.
Yeah, it's over now.
Moving on.
Yep. I was pretty glad for Abadon versus Julia Hart.
This match was such a...
Spooky.
So much so that there was a chant. By the way, this crowd, man, y'all did some stuff that made me upset. You really did. But this is spooky. It's going to live in my heart for a while.
This crowd was so quiet. And it's a Bizarro Land territory.
It was quiet and, like, Bizarro Landy. And sometimes they did shitty things. But, like... Generally, like, you get some shining moments like this is spooky. Just good stuff.
And I think the lack of crowd enthusiasm took about a half a frog off of all of these matches.
We rate in the Discord, we rate matches in a system of frogs, 1 to 5 frogs. You would know that if you signed up. Doesn't cost anything. It's in the link tree.
Yeah.
But
imagine if I charged for that. That's weird.
Dude, very successful people do.
Well, and I can get if, like, you have got, like, 1 million fans, you would want to put some distance. But you know what else you can do is just not look at the Discord.
Seems like...
Mute that shit.
But I liked this match. I kind of like
the build, too.
Yeah, I kind of like the thing they're doing with Sky Blue, where she's... Like, she didn't start at... She was, hit by the mist that turns you evil.
Yeah.
And she didn't start out evil, but she has eventually become evil through the power of goth is super fun. And, like, I'm getting over, so why wouldn't I? And I like that.
I wonder if that was the entire nexus of Stokely's theory that Willow's evil and definitely going to turn on Julia because she got hit with the mist.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
So Willow is the only person who has had enough face energons to withstand the mist in a while.
She's literally powered by positivity. So
yeah.
But I was glad to see Abadon get a storyline, get an angle that wasn't just around Halloween.
Yeah, it was really great to see them in like an actual pay-per-view card.
Yeah, and they performed. Both of them, obviously. They're both really good. I hope to see more in the future. Also, thank you, Abadon, for honoring the House of Black rules and picking an actual fucking stipulation.
Seriously, that is the most underutilized thing. It's such a cool idea. The House of Black rules themselves are cool. The 20 count, the lack of rope breaks, it's very well understood. It's very well established at this point. And the other person getting to pick a stipulation of their own is really neat. That's a really neat, cool, original idea. I am so glad they used it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Abadon made biting legal, which is excellent.
And there was so much biting, it was great.
Yeah,
I'm not even a huge biting fan. I'm just glad they did the thing.
I am notably a pretty big biting detractor in general. But like, it utilized this as like a fun paying attention bonus in match thing. It was a good bit of business. I really enjoyed it. Julia Hart wins. Because, of course she does. She's great.
Partially thanks to Sky Blue's interference and distraction.
She's a heel. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm glad Julia Hart has some people, like a Sky Blue, to hang around her since the House of Black appears to have split off into its own diaspora.
I feel like I don't know how long Malachi's sticking around.
Yeah.
And now that Father H is in charge, he's probably just like, I'll go back there then.
I liked it there.
My lady is there.
Which sucks because the House of Black rules.
But more power to him,
Yeah, Julia Hart's getting over, so
Yeah, if Brody sticks around and maybe
Buddy will go back.
They need a guy named Booby. Brody, Buddy, and Booby. The House of Black.
Don't change the name. I don't care if Malachi Black is gone. Keep it. It's a good name.
Our next contest was also pretty good. Really good, actually. That would be Christian Cage defending his TNT Championship against Adam Copeland, also known as Edge, from previous federations. A little small-time Connecticut joint called the Wide World Wrestling Federation. I might not have that right.
Sexton Hardcastle versus Christian Cage.
More people know Sexton Hardcastle. Christian Cage, what the hell is his name? I can't remember now.
But it was well built. Adam Copeland came out in the vest he wore in a very famous match with Cactus Jack. Famous for his work in Japan and nowhere else, clearly. And as like a fun callback, and then they did, you know, the big spot from that match is another fun. Well, they tried.
Yeah. Look, this is out of order as fuck, but Nick Wayne got powerbomb bounced off of a flaming table.
Ripped to Nick Wayne.
Jesus
That
Christ.
table was fucking built different. It was constructed alternatively.
I'm not even mad. Like, I don't know what the crowd's obsession with tables is. They're cool, but, like, there's other stuff. There's other stuff.
When he came out in the vest.
Sure, yeah, look, yeah, I wanted it. Look.
When you promise a thing,
Yes.
the crowd's going to want the thing you clearly promised. But the match itself was good. It was a fun sort of blow-off match to this feud, which should definitely be over now. The face goes over. Adam Copeland wins after a whole bunch of rigmarole and attempted interference. And
I really thought Gangrel was going to show up.
I'm saying Adam Copeland overcame the odds, and he wins. Great, A+, good job. End it. Stop. Why is Luchasaurus' music hitting? No, stop, wait.
So Luchasaurus cashes in his contract.
Well, no. He attempts to.
Yeah, and then Christian's like, "Thank you for the contract you are cashing in." And then he's really mean to Luchasaurus for a long time, and Luchasaurus looks like a cat that you told you're not going to feed them right now because they just ate. And Christian takes the contract, cashes it in.
And I just... Please stop.
They're not gonna, man. Like, I'm sorry that you didn't get the high sign on this one. I am genuinely. This isn't some sort of, I'm sorry you're not as smart as me, bullshit. That's unfortunate that you thought this might be ending. Because it's not.
No,
not
you're absolutely right. It's
time.
going another 8 months until they're a tag team for approximately one match. One of them gets injured, and then we never see them again. That's what's going to happen.
And I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, the Christian's gimmick is... It's finally reached its apex. I'm really
the patriarchy
happy.
is an excellent gimmick. Yes. Christian's current gimmick is fucking fire. It existed in the caterpillar chrysalis form of Christian hates dead fathers, and became the patriarchy. And it's unbelievably good heel wrestling work. Like, he is the most hateable piece of shit in the universe, and it is A+ work.
It also let Edge get the big victory, but not have the title.
Because
he doesn't care.
Adam Copeland is too fucking big for the TNT title anyway. I get why they did it. It just means that it's not like he's gonna let this go and move on with his life.
No, yeah, this continues.
It means another 8 months of these two wrestling each other, and I wasn't excited to see Adam Copeland show up in AEW to just fucking wrestle Christian and Luchasaurus until he's done. I don't want that.
He's got Nick Wayne.
Yes, and also a rubber bounce ball that he throws around sometimes.
It's pretty funny.
It is funny.
Yeah. And remember the big brawl they had on Dynamite this past week? Serpentico was there. That's cool.
Good for Serpentico.
Yeah. I like to think his name is like Jeremy Pentico. And he is knighted.
It is now.
Moving on to match of the night.
Yeah, absolutely no contest. Match of the night. Fucking number one with a bullet. Eddie Kingston versus Jon Moxley for the modern day Triple Crown. I'm just gonna say that.
The Continental Classic tournament that we've been having, the round robin.
The Continental Classic tournament for the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship, the Ring of Honor World Championship, and the AEW Continental Championship. That's a fucking mouthful.
And that's why they call it the American Triple Crown, or the modern day Triple Crown, or...
I like American Triple Crown, because there is another one in Japan.
Or the Jon Moxley walking up to TK and going, "Hey, my friend Eddie's had a hard life. Let's give him... whatever he wants."
And TK going, "Fund it, book it."
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I've got like 5 guys who print me money, and you're one of them. Have fun with it.
This was amazing. This was excellent. Alright. So the booking of the tournament itself has been shaky. I haven't always agreed with all the decisions that they've made, but...
The Blue League was also booked way better than the Gold League.
Yeah, no dispute. Blue League was booked way better than the Gold League. But just in terms of the order the matches happened in, if nothing else. But I will say they've pretty much made hay out of everything in the tournament.
Yes.
This was one of those times where I was skeptical, but they proved me wrong. They really did find the lyrics to all this music, and I'm very impressed.
That is a nugget of something that I'm holding within me. We watched WWE for so long, and I think our chief complaint about it is that, well, like you said of Swerve, they can't land the fucking plane.
Not to save their fucking lives. They still can't.
No. And even if they do now, it's too late. All the passengers died of dehydration. It doesn't matter. The plane's down, sure. We got corpses. AEW does a really good job of tying things off.
When they eventually decide at the long-awaited, long-expected party time to do so.
Did I enjoy Jungle Boy Christian Luchasaurus going on for 93 years? No.
But the end was great.
The end was great. It was fine.
They can usually close a feud out real strong.
There is the news site that I pay attention to the most is Cultaholic, and they had the observation that as much as through the booking weeks we worry about how this show is going to go, they get to the pay-per-view and it goes off and you go, well, that was really good. I had a great time.
Yeah, and absolutely, this is that use case, and like the Continental Classic is great because it's a storyline with a fixed set of time that starts, goes, ends, and then you move the fuck on.
It's also nice because you can give a lot of your bigger stars some time off around the holidays while your mid card gets to shine.
Yeah, that should be the use case. Yeah. For I understand you're starting it off new and you're building to this amazing fucking finale. So like any notes I have are wiped away by Eddie Kingston, Jon Moxley. Truly, just a fucking amazing wrestling match.
Yeah. I thought the finish was a little weak, but otherwise
the finish not being as over the top bombastic as my heart wanted it to be is ultimately what landed it at 4.5 instead of 5, because it was otherwise a fucking perfect clinic of a wrestling match.
And this is me talking about Jon Moxley. Longtime viewers may remember my invective-filled rant about this man.
Longer-time viewers might remember that we hated Eddie Kingston at first.
Oh, yeah.
We just didn't get the character and didn't know if it was fully a character. And then it was clear that it was, and we then got it, and it's amazing.
And I'm still not a huge fan of Mox, but like, I respect where respect is due. These guys.
When the man laces up his boots, he's one of the best ever.
Yeah. And this was a beautiful strike fest. Eddie Kingston went over.
Yeah, Eddie Kingston went over as he absolutely should have. That was the right call. Wonderful, wonderful storytelling.
Send the fans home happy.
Sure wish they would have, yeah. This is followed by the world title match.
I thought this was a coin flip. This is one of the two matches I got wrong. The other one was... I don't even remember.
It was early.
It was Miro and Andrade. I thought it was going to go the other way. I didn't realize Andrade was leaving.
I also thought Andrade was going to win that. Because I also didn't realize he was leaving.
Yeah, I mean, like...
So, the match itself...
It was good.
Excellent match.
Yeah, good stuff.
Really fun match. Great MJF match. The kind of match where he's at his best telling a story more than doing flippy bullshit. He can do the flippy bullshit, but he clearly prefers to use a match as a vehicle for storytelling first and everything else second. And that's perfectly valid, and he does a great job at it. Samoa Joe looked like King Kong. He looked like the fucking final boss of wrestling the whole time, and that's what he should look like. He's Samoa Joe.
I'm nodding in agreement.
They built the whole pay-per-view, essentially, the whole pay-per-view cycle around MJF being embattled on all sides, beaten down, under threat from this unknown devil character, as he has been since roughly the start of the Swerve Strickland-Keith Lee feud. And it built to a wonderful surprise finish that I actually like. And that is something controversial. It is not terribly popular opinion online. I liked that Joe won this match, and I liked that he won it relatively clean.
I also like the knockout victory, as it were.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great way to get your face some rub, even in a defeat.
It might even be an homage to Stone Cold.
Yeah, it is, because Samoa Joe didn't cheat in the match, but he basically fucked MJF's brain in half and then also beat the shit out of him before the match. So he did stack his heel deck before things started, so he didn't have to cheat during the match. That's a good flex.
Yeah.
Makes him look smart. Makes him look canny.
Well, the beautiful storytelling of it, too, and I have this criticism of Excalibur, who I mostly like as a commentator. Too many times in a match, he points out something that is going to be involved in the finish.
Which you gotta do. You gotta tell the people the story, but he's not good at doing it subtly.
Or AEW isn't, or whatever. Excalibur's usually the one who says it, is the only reason I love him.
He is the one usually burdened with glorious purpose in this way.
Here, however, earlier in the night, they had somebody in a submission, and they do the 3 arm raises, and they power through. I want to say it was Kingston. That is great setup for the finish of this match, where MJF is in a submission, they do the 3 arm raises, it drops the 3rd time, and Bryce Remsburg looks like he doesn't know what to do.
Because that never fucking happens. If they do the 3 arm raises, that never happens. Setting aside they're very inconsistent on whether or not they're going to do those in the first place, or if they're just going to, like, he's knocked out, all right, end the match, referee stoppage. They're not consistent on that at all, but they set that up earlier to set up that this is the universe we're living in tonight.
Right.
And then they did it, and that never fucking happened. So I like that the ref was genuinely confused, like, I didn't even know that was an option.
What are you doing?
I was doing the thing to prompt him to... I was doing the face magic that they all seem to have in wrestling universe. I don't understand how they do it, but they do.
White ninja with the stick. Do something.
But,
I'm so old I used to read that comic.
I like that that happened as a great way to give MJF a little bit of rub even in defeat. It makes Samoa Joe look smart and canny, which is very much good, because him giving up the TV title to go after the world title and then losing would make him look like the world's biggest fucking moron. And I was so worried about that all pay-per-view cycle, because I thought MJF was going to win this match. And then, so Joe would thus look like a big stupid idiot. And then no, he just wins. He was just right. He had his plan. He did his plan. He won. That's good. You have to establish heels like that. They have to actually get... The bad guy has to win sometimes. And
I think that's what they're doing really well with Swerve, is that he's a menace.
He's a shithead. He cheats. Nana will cheat. If that doesn't work, we're gonna get Brian Cage or somebody else. We'll bring in the rest of his stable with a nebulous name, and like, we'll get this done. I will win. But he is also very good and canny and smart and ruthless. That you have to establish them so that when they are defeated, it feels good. I like that Samoa Joe won. I do not like what happened after. After the match, the Devil's minions attack again. And Adam Cole has come out to support MJF in his defense, and he was like in the middle of telling him, you did the best you could, you tried, you gave it all you had, there's nothing to be ashamed of. And they go back to back, but Adam Cole's very injured still, so it doesn't look like it's going to go well. They get them, they take both guys, they lock them down, and both guys are essentially begging to be the sacrifice so that the other one isn't injured. Great, good storytelling, builds on their friendship. Then the lights go off, they come back on, and the really obvious thing that was obviously the thing that was going to happen with the devil thing the whole time, is literally not surprising at all, that happened. Adam Cole was the devil.
Which, as we've said before, just because it's obvious doesn't mean it's bad.
Predictable isn't always bad. No, that is the thing we have said before, that is something I think is still true. It is also not always good.
We are of two minds on this one.
Yes, we very firmly disagree on this one.
I'm waiting for the plane to land, honestly. I can't... I have... AEW has germinated enough trust in me that I am willing to see how this plays out. And then I can evaluate it after the fact. And it probably won't play out for a long time because MJF is IRL fucking injured.
Yeah, he was probably going to be gone for a bit.
And if his kayfabe is to be believed, his contract was up on the 1st. He is gone from AEW's roster page, which MJF loves his kayfabe, so God, that's a great work.
Or maybe he's just going to show up with a dreidel.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Anything can happen.
I will mourn if that happens for Max.
I will be a little upset at TK that he didn't have enough bag laying around to secure MJF again. He's your bread.
But I will say I don't hate it for Adam Cole's character. I think it makes sense given his previously established character in NXT and the fact that when he originally showed up in AEW, he was a shitbag. His face turn was mostly back, off the back of, his whole career being over and then not over because he has God will.
You want to talk about someone IRL powered by positivity? Good Lord.
I love Adam Cole as a face. I think he's a great face. I respect that he might not think that. He's wrong if he doesn't.
Oh, he might just like playing the bad guy,
And I think this, is a good turn for his character in isolation. But reality exists not in isolation. And it was clear that he was originally the plan for the devil. That's crystal clear. White and I have actually talked this out, and the few things that I thought didn't make sense, he outlined ways that could easily make sense. Because I have long bemoaned that there is no end to this story that makes sense because of all the shit that happened with the various injuries and how they've had to, this is the airborne ham of the last 6 months.
I think, and I'll be perfectly honest here, I think the only thing that has been a pivot is that Adam Cole was supposed to have this match.
Yeah, probably.
And anything, around that.
But, this is stupid because of the injury. Because you can't actually capitalize on it, for one, because he's still not cleared to wrestle. He's not going to be cleared to wrestle for a long time. So he's just going to be the manager of other wrestlers. Now, I remember a very significant time Adam Cole was supposed to be the manager of other wrestlers. That didn't go so well. So I don't know why we would want that now.
Well, I mean, it didn't happen at all. I think he went to AEW, if I recall. I mean, injury is what it is, and he is a bigger star in your roster, and
the other thing, and I'm going to lay my cards fully on the table here. I think this is not amazingly well established. I think it could be well established. All you really need is one really good promo from Cole to lay out the order of events in universe with some, whatever mild retcons are required, because there will be some that are required for this to make sense. But you have him lay it out. You have him give his raison d'etre, give his speech, his reason for doing this. And this is basically one promo from being something that I think is pretty good retroactively. As it stands right now, I don't think they're there yet, and I'm worried they're not going to get there.
That's a valid concern. I mentioned this to you as well. I generally love AEW, but this year has been a lot of me going, is this going to be the show that makes one of the people in our house hate watching AEW, and thus I can no longer watch wrestling?
Either you or me.
Right,
or
yeah, because most of the time it's been me, because they've not been booking anyone I like.
Whereas I usually like AEW shows.
Right.
The other thing, and I'm being honest here, is that if in universe it ends up being that the reason Adam Cole was the devil is because it was a ruse the whole time, and he always planned on betraying MJF. One, he's a moron. He should have done it at Wembley. What are you doing, you stupid asshole? And that is separate and true. Two, it will hurt my feelings. Because the end of Wembley is my favorite thing that's happened in wrestling in 10 years easily. The idea of brotherhood overcoming adversity like that is perfect. It is perfect storytelling. It is personally impactful to me. My feelings will genuinely be hurt if they make that decision. I'll get over it. I'm going to keep watching, obviously. And it's good heel work. Making someone feel that way is kind of the point. But that is, I will acknowledge, part of why I don't think this is good. I don't think it is intellectually, but it has to be involved, right?
Well, and I could even see Adam saying that and it coming out not to be true later. Put up a big front. Leave yourself open for storyline shifts. The crowd is going to want to see MJF and Cole team at some point in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So, you know...
if Cole's still wrestling in 10 years.
Well, he's not that old. He's just kind of banged up.
No, but modern wrestlers retire a little sooner because they know how to save money.
They often do. You are correct. Although some of them don't.
That's fair.
They will go through all the motions of retiring.
And then not.
And then just win the Trios Championship. Just which I would have loved to have seen on this card. Just putting that out there.
I would like to see the Trios Champions do a thing. I pushed for you. I barracked for you. I put up with this guy and fought for you.
No one should have to do that.
Do you have any idea how butthurt he was? Come on, man, do something. Look. I'm fully I am quantum butthurt about this Wednesday's show, so I understand. But overall, I think this show was good. Barring one storyline decision that was both very predictable and I don't agree with. I can't think of any major missteps.
I'm here. It's
you're willing to give them the
I wasn't invested enough in any of this to care. Like, none of this, unless Jeff Jarrett snuck out and won the championship, we're fine. This is fine. It's not my favorite thing in the world right now, but it's interesting, and I'm willing to watch how it unfolds. This is a TV show that I am not buying the merch for, which is not true, I am, but I am watching every week in that sort of mood. But,
yeah, you're here for it.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Respectable.
I am cautiously optimistic about Sting's final match.
Fingers crossed.
And yeah, I think there's a lot of things that can hopefully come out of this pay-per-view as a whole that could be really good. And I'm still holding out for Christian to whistle Camptown races. If you're listening, Jay, please.
Just once.
Just once.
For us.